What's happening, everybody? JayShockblast here, and we are ready for another custom character. That is right. Everybody's been begging me to make a speedster, and I knew that there was a way to make Quicksilver in this game, and I just kind of was holding off on it because I thought a lot of people were already doing it, but since I'm getting the request, we are going to go ahead and do it. I wanted a speedster anyway, so here we go. Let's check out my latest custom character to go along with Deadpool, Red Hood, and Green Arrow. We have Quicksilver, and there's really only one way to make him. For the most part, there's one interchangeable, and that's his face. You can do a lot of things with his face. I almost use the Vulture's face, and I almost use the Collector's face because they do have white eyebrows. But ultimately, I decided to go with... actually, whose face did I go with? Let's actually check it out. I went with Electro's face. I thought that was the most fitting for him. So, like I said, you can technically use... there's a number of, I guess, you know, white faces, male faces. I guess theoretically you could use Rawhide Kid. That kind of works too, but he does do like a smirk at some point. Actually, this might actually work a little bit better because of the bushy eyebrows. I always picture Quicksilver as having kind of bushy eyebrows, but I didn't know if he was going to like smirk or not. So, right here, we have the Vulture Classic. Now, this one works too. And a lot of times, Quicksilver is portrayed as being a little bit older. But I didn't like the way he looked that way. And I decided against it personally. You can certainly use whichever face that you deem to be the best one for you. But, I mean, I guess Hammer works. Actually, Hammer works pretty well. So, we're going to go with Hammer. I think I like the eyebrows better with Hammer for him. So that's how I went with it. Now, as far as body and legs, very straightforward. I mean, you're basically going to use blue marble. So there's really no other way to do it. There's no other costume that has anything similar to the lightning bolt across his chest. You know, that's as close as you're going to get it. It is a little darker than Quicksilver is typically portrayed. I know he has had a darker costume. But for the legs and the body, you are going, and the hips actually, your best bet is to use blue marble. I don't really think there's any other way to really do it. For arms, you do have a few options. Hands, obviously white because he wears white gloves. But for arms, I went with Venom 2099, just because he had like these one little white kind of strap-looking thing on his arm. There is not that shade of blue. Is not available in the plain arms, so you'll have to consider that. I almost used these shield arms. I'm not gonna. Well, I guess pick them now. I almost used these shield arms, but I just didn't like having the shield logo there. I just didn't really feel like that was fitting. I don't think he was ever in shield. But there are other arms that are this shade. You know, King Arthur's, but I didn't like having the scales on the arm. And there's another one I think that, I mean, theoretically you could use blue marble. But again, I didn't like having all those stripes. I did like having one marking on the arm. But like, I didn't really want all those markings on his arm. Otherwise, it's basically just blue marble with another head. And then, of course, if you go into here, like I was saying, the shades of blue are not the same. Like, I would have liked this shade of blue if maybe they had... or even this one, if they had, like, Blue Marble's costume was that shade, but alas, it is not, and I couldn't justify that color going with this, so, white hands, obviously, and then, obviously, for hair, I went with this hairstyle. I mean, I guess if you really want to, you could probably do this hairstyle, I mean... You could do this. Actually, this might even be a fitting hairstyle. He's had a number of hairstyles. So there's a lot of options. I mean, he is typically portrayed as having longer hair. But he also has it sometimes kind of poofed up a little bit. I don't like the longer hair looks. I mean, I guess this could work too. But I personally liked his hair kind of shorter. So that's why I went with this haircut. Again, to each their own. He's definitely been portrayed as having long hair, but I kind of like it with the shorter look, personally. So that's basically it for Quicksilver as far as how you can make his actual look and design. Obviously, for passive traits, we're going to give him super fast for speed. I mean, target really doesn't matter, but I gave him the blue target. I gave him blue hearts, standard health. Yeah, so I gave him like the lighter blue health heart. Again, that stuff's kind of irrelevant. For abilities, I think what I've been doing, some people are like, oh, you should have given him this ability. I think this is to each their own. Like, whatever you want your Quicksilver to do. I gave him fighting for tapping square. And I give him targeted lunge for holding. For tapping circle, I gave him a quick teleport. I know he doesn't really teleport per se, but he goes really fast, so it's kind of the same thing. And then I did give him an explosive attack. I gave him this one. So as if like he like created a lot of energy. And it does electric damage. So yeah, I don't know if that's really very accurate, but I think of the Flash and the type of energy he does. And then I gave him super jump and then double jump as far as his abilities. So for those of you that don't know, I do have him here with Crystal. Crystal and Quicksilver have a daughter named Luna Maximoff, and so it made sense to have her out there. She was in the Fantastic Four at one point as well, because she was in a love affair with Johnny Storm as well. So she gets around.
You'll learn to tune it out.
So I know a lot of people are not thrilled with the Quicksilver abilities in this, and I'm sorry, the speedster abilities, I should say. I don't know what I said, actually. I know a lot of people are not, like, thrilled with that, but, I mean, Marvel is not as big on speedsters as DC Comics is. I feel like DC has, like, a whole kind of thing with speedsters. And Marvel, I mean, they've got speedsters, but it's not as big of a deal. Ooh, no. It's not as... It's not as big of a deal in Marvel as it is in DC. So I'm kind of okay with how they don't have a lot of them, especially because Lego Marvel Avengers was heavy on speedsters. Now, it's kind of customer service 101. Once you establish something as normal, you can't really take it away. So that's kind of why TT has struggled a little bit in regards to both X-Men and, in this case, speedsters, because they had X-Men before, and Fantastic Four. They've had X-Men and Fantastic Four before, so the expectation becomes that they're going to have them always. Well, the same thing seems to be applying to speedsters, because they did have speedsters, in Lego Batman 3, they have in Lego Dimensions, they even had 2 speedsters in Lego Ninjago, and if, now here we don't have speedsters per se. I'm glad they did at least give an ability, so that people could, create their own speedsters, if you will. I don't know how this race is gonna go, but we're gonna see if we can do it. I'm awful at races, BT dubs. This race requires an acrobatic character. Can't even do it. So, oh well. I thought that I made him acrobatic, but now here's my speculation. I don't know this to be true. I'm purely speculating and somewhat hoping. I think for a lot of us, I never understood why they killed off Quicksilver in Avengers 2. It's really been something that it always felt weird to me. I understand there has to be some like sense of or possible loss and stuff like that. You can't just you can, but in a lot of ways you shouldn't always just expect the heroes to win every time. Yeah, he doesn't even run across water. there's this expectation that the hero is always going to win, and even when somebody dies, like Agent Coulson, they've come back somehow, some way. Well, with Quicksilver being dead, it feels more final because there's been other Lego Marvel games that have come out since then, or I'm sorry, Lego Marvel, other movies that have come out since then. So I think with Infinity War coming out, the Infinity Gauntlet is going to be there. All the Infinity Stones are in play. So I kind of believe that Quicksilver is going to come back to life. Like, I feel like there's going to be something that happens that causes him to come back to life. I don't know if it's going to be some kind of an allure of Scarlet Witch. She's going to basically remake reality. I mean, she did, kill off all the X-Men with a whisper. So there's that. I'm interested to see what happens. I really can't wait for Infinity War. I think it's going to be a phenomenal movie, certainly better than Justice League. So I know this isn't what a lot of people wanted. Everybody's used to the Flash. They're used to Sonic the Hedgehog. They're used to Quicksilver and Speed and Lightyear, or all the different characters that were available in Lego Marvel's Avengers. But this is a nice alternative. I think the Blue Marvel costume really works out well for Quicksilver. So I really do think that if you just go ahead and create yourself a Quicksilver and wait for the Infinity Wars DLC to drop, I think you'll be pretty satisfied for the time being. And of course, I found an area where we're gonna swim. No, does he swim fast? Oh, he does swim fast. So there's at least that. So so there you have it, folks. There is Quicksilver, my custom Quicksilver. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy incorporating him into their game. And, he's not really, I don't believe, the last time I saw Crystal and Quicksilver together in a comic, I do not believe they were on the best of terms, if you will. So maybe this isn't the best pairing of the two. But there you go. There's my Quicksilver. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you.